Hi everyone, I'm Scott Schneider. This is Stereo Niche. Hey, this week I've been traveling the Midwest a bit and even into Canada. So I thought I would share some of my adventures. Stick around. All right, well, thanks for sticking around. So this week it's latter part of summer, and I have a senior or a high school student who is moving up into a junior and will be a senior after that. And we are in the process of doing some very early looking around at colleges and doing some prospecting, those sorts of things. And so we thought we would make a bit of a family trip and make a vacation out of it and do some other things. So we decided, now I'm based out of North Carolina, so we thought we would venture up toward upstate New York and check out some colleges there. And after that, head on over to Niagara Falls because we've never been there. So thought we would head over and venture that way. And we did that and moved over from the New York side into the Canadian side of Niagara Falls and spent the better part of a day and a half there. Lots of things to see and do. It's a very fun place. Our first time ever being in that region. So from that point, we were going to do some reviews of some schools in the Michigan side. So we thought we would cut across Canada and see a little more sights. So we spent the night in London, Ontario, and took our time there and looked around and got to see and feel what it's like to be in Canada a bit. And then we ventured over into Detroit. From that point, spent a little time a little bit west of Detroit, eastern Michigan, looking at some of those schools around that area. From that point, we headed on down south toward North Carolina and stopped over in Ohio. And specifically in Columbus, we spent the better part of the day there and visiting Ohio State a bit, and then went on from there and visited Ohio University and then came on home from that point. So while we were on that big loop, I thought I would take a little bit of time and see what kind of audio could I find. So took a couple of stops, one in London, Ontario, and then another in Columbus. And so here's what I found. So we stayed over in London, Ontario for one evening. And so while we were there, I thought, why not see what I can find locally for vintage audio? So I jumped on Google, did a quick search for vintage audio, and found Target HiFi in downtown London. So I thought, well, I'll venture over there and see what they have going on because the website did show that they had some vintage audio. So I found it, very nice store. It's in an older downtown section of London. Looks like many downtowns where they're trying to, keep it vitalized and keep things going. But it's tough, just like just about any city that you run into. A lot of urban crawl and people have moved out, from the downtown city centers. But Target HiFi, I met Bill Robinson there, who's owned the store and has been in that location since I think the early 80s time frame. Very nice guy and has been in the business a long time, knows all the ins and outs of it. And we talked at length for a good while, but when I got there, I met Bill and he has some other employees. It's a very nice old store. It's the kind where you walk in and it's very deep. It's kind of narrow, but very deep, old time store. And there's a lower level, and then there's a second floor, and maybe even a third floor. But so I came in, and they've got some beautiful setups. He is focused on new gear, and after just a couple of minutes, that becomes quite obvious. His focus is new gear. That's it. So I told him what I was there for, and that I have a channel, and I'm interested in vintage audio gear, and I collect it. At first he was, a little bit standoffish. He said, yeah, I got a couple pieces back there, in the back. So I asked, it was okay if I, took some video, and he was fine with that, but wasn't too keen on talking about it. So I started looking around, and I, kind of continued to explain what I do as a hobby. And he says, well, you probably want to see the second floor. And so I said, sure. And so he walks me back to the front of the store, where I didn't notice when we came in, there's an entrance that takes stairs up to the second floor. And so we get up there, and it's set up very nicely. He's got multiple listening rooms set up for new gear, but he also has several rooms set up with a lot of vintage gear as well. So we go there, and I'm not clear if I'm able to, record or video anything, because he's sort of, hurriedly walking me around each room and saying, yeah, I see this, and I have this, and I have this. But the whole time it's pretty clear that, it's really not something of interest for him to sell this gear. So he kind of shows me around each room, which is a fairly large second floor. And at the end of it, I asked, is it okay if I record anything? And at that point, I realized no, because he doesn't have time to stay with me and walk me around. So it's a store, and he's there to sell, and I understand that. So I didn't get a chance to do any of my recording up there. I did take some recording off of his website. He has a very nice website, and he had a real estate agency come in and do, like you do a property and video, or take pictures of this sort of 3D imaging of the floor. And so I took some screenshots off of that, which you'll see here in the video. So we go back downstairs, and at that point I was able to take some video of the first floor and look at some of the gear. And he set me up in front of one of his setups. He's got some wonderful Martin Logan speakers set up with some Moon audio, looked like a DAC, and very nice Oracle turntable. Everything is excellent. He's a real pro. He's been in a long time doing surround sound home theater stuff and stereo gear. And he's a great representative of audio. But just know that his focus is new gear. He has fantastic setup and display of turntables. If you need any turntable, accessories, cartridges, he's got a full setup there. Can give you some advice on which kind of cartridge that you may want to pair with your turntable. They do some repairs. They don't do them there, but they will take in some vintage gear and get it repaired for you if you have something like that. And I think they do a fairly active amount of trade-ins as well. So if you want to go see what's hot as far as new gear, looks like they're very well versed in telling you what's going on. He does have a special emphasis on Canadian-made products, which is fantastic. He's supporting the Canadian hi-fi community. So if you want to go find out what's especially made in Canada, he's got that set up, and even has some little signs there, "Made in Canada," which is awesome to see. I did spend a good bit of time. Again, he does have quite a bit of gear upstairs. If you are looking for some Marantz pieces, I did see a nice tuner with scope, and there's a nice preamp up there. And if I remember right, he has the boxes for those as well. Some nice Pioneer pieces I saw. He's got the RT909, I believe I saw up there, and some other pieces that he's got randomly. If you want to go and check out, he's willing to sell that gear, but again, you will have to say, listen, Bill, I'm really interested in some vintage gear. Let me see what you have, and he's willing to show it to you. So just go there and inquire, and you might find something of interest, and negotiate, with Bill, and he might, convince you though to buy some new gear. So go check out the Hi-Fi gear with Bill Robinson, and enjoy. So after we visited some colleges in Michigan, we headed south into Ohio, and we decided to stay over and spend some time in Columbus, Ohio, and visited nice Ohio State there. But while we were there, I thought, got a little bit of time. Let me see what vintage audio is around here. So I found Stereo Lab in Columbus, just on the north side of Columbus. I'm not sure what happened to my GPS, but Google Maps was having a hard time getting me over there. But I don't understand why. It's not exactly hard to get to, but for whatever reason, it was sort of taking me in a circle. But anyway, we finally found Stereo Lab, and it's in an older section in a little bit of an outdoor strip mall kind of thing. And so I get there, and I'm very excited. I pulled up, and it's all lit up. They have all these great vintage signs. I saw Wharfdale, and I saw lots of other Crosley and lots of other interesting signs. But what I mostly saw were all these open signs. I saw open, open, open. And I thought, gosh, these guys are, really ready to, bring in the customers here. So I parked and get out, and I go to open the door and realize it's locked. Only to then refocus my attention on a big piece of paper right in the middle of all these open messages, and said they were closed. So I just happened to get there on a day. They are usually open on a Saturday, but unfortunately not this Saturday I was there. So I didn't get to go in, very disappointed. So, what else could I do but look through the window like, a kid in a Toy Story or a Christmas Story, and go, ogle at some of the stuff that was inside. And so I took a couple of pictures, and looks like they've got some interesting things there. Looks like they do full service repair and restoration, as far as I can tell. I did pull some pictures off of their website, as what you're seeing now. But unfortunately, I didn't get to meet anyone there for whatever reason. They're closed. It's a small business, so you have to roll with it. They have things come up, and can't always be there on the hours that they publish. If something comes up. So unfortunately, it didn't work out. I wish I could have gone in and met the folks there. But anyway, if you've gone to Stereo Lab and familiar with them, I'd love to hear your story and post some comments here. Maybe if I'm up there again, I'll get to call ahead, make sure they're open, and swing by and get some more details. But anyway, that was unfortunately my adventures in Columbus. I didn't have time to try anywhere else and look around. We went through, saw some colleges there, or a college there, and then ventured over a little more east and went to Ohio University, spent some time there, and then came on home. Well, that was the week. Unfortunately, not a whole lot to share with you. I kind of struck out in some of the vintage audio I was trying to find out my adventure there. But anyway, hope you enjoyed what I could show you. A lot of feedback from the last week video on home theater. I'll do a bit of a summary, I think a follow-up of that, but in looking at the comments, similar to what I was sort of summarizing, in that it looks like a lot of folks have leaned more into their stereo setups than their home theater, at least, from the folks that watched the video and commented anyway. Lots of views, but of course, always a smaller percentage of comments. But of the comments that were there, I'd say probably 65-70% seem to lean a little more into their stereo setups, not investing more into the home theater side of things. Of course, it's matured. We're 30 years into home theater now, and so it seems like not a lot of newness to obsolete the old formats and old setups, but looks like a lot of folks, if you're going to buy something new and set it up, I'm still thinking that the sound bar is sort of taking things back a bit and is going to diminish a lot of the new investment. When I was visiting with Target HiFi, as a matter of fact, I asked Bill, what his thoughts were on what he's seeing in the market, and he has seen less investment in surround sound home theater and more so into stereo. And of course, it's that whole equation, that valuation. You can certainly, if you have a single budget and you've got less equipment to buy on the stereo side, you can raise the bar and get higher quality equipment where you're parsing that out amongst a broader set of gear, more gear. So the quality goes down. So it's a bit of a valuation there, but it is does seem to be that stereo is on the uptick anyway. So good sign. Even if you're not into vintage audio, but you're into stereo, that's a good thing for all of us. Well, anyway, I hope you like that content this week. Not a whole lot more to come. Want to keep up? Hit subscribe. Don't want to miss that next video. Hit that notification button. And as always, thank you guys for tuning in.